Breaking news, breaking news. We now know why the Eagles collapsed this year. It was because their head coach, Nick Sirianni, didn't have his babysitter. Are you kidding me? Dallas still stinks. Yo, by the way, Dingbat here, and let me just be the first person to say, the first person to put this out there. I want to officially put my name in the ring for the job of babysitting Nick Sirianni. Since it looks like Nick Sirianni needs a babysitter and Big Dom got suspended last year, I officially want to apply for the job. How do I get it? Are you kidding me? This whole collapse, everything just keeps getting crazier and crazier after having a clown talk about stuff he don't know anything about, and I still don't believe he had any knowledge of what happened to the Eagles. We start to get, in my opinion, a very credible source in one Derrick Gunn, who comes out and posts this unbelievable tweet on Twitter. And when you look at this tweet and you look at what he says, if this is true, this is just insanity. What the hell are we doing? All I gotta say, now some of you might say, it's Derrick Gunn, I don't believe him or whatever. I think Derrick Gunn is very credible. I believe a lot of the things Derrick Gunn says, and I think he's also proven right a lot of time. Now, this is what he said, okay? You had the whole clown show yesterday on FS1 talking about he knows why the Eagles collapsed, but he's not going to share it with anybody, which is just so annoying. But today, Derrick Gunn posted this on Twitter, and when you read it, it's like, this can't be real. Can this actually be real? Because real. It's insane, okay? And Derrick Gunn puts this tweet up, and he just talks about why the Eagles collapse and all the reasons, or according to some of the reasons. Here's what he said. I'm just going to read this. This is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Derrick Gunn says, according to sources, JALEN's big contract pulled him in numerous directions on and off the field, put him under a lot of pressure, and he didn't handle it well. Big Dom suspended controls Sirianni's emotion on the sidelines. In his absence, Nick gets into numerous arguments with players and coaches during the game. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And when you think about this, you think about, when did the Eagles collapse, right? The 49ers game. That was the game it all went to hell. Okay, what was the game Big Dom got suspended? He got suspended in the 49ers game. He got thrown out. Well, guess what? Nick Sirianni became uncontrollable. He became a gagoots, a moron. And he was fighting with players. We saw it on the sideline on TV ourselves, fighting with guys, even where Devontae Smith is trying to rationalize and speak to him. He don't want to hear it. This is unbelievable. So my question is this, and I'm going to say this right off the bat. I believe Derrick Gunn is true. Okay. Now, as far as the Jalen Hurts situation goes, does he need to handle contract? And there was problems with him handling big contracts. We've heard those things before. I'm sure there's something to it. When you make that kind of money and you get that kind of contract, I'm sure you get pulled in a lot of directions. Part of being a professional and a franchise quarterback is learning how to deal with those things. Jalen Hurts is the least of my concerns. He will be fine. But this whole thing about Nick Sirianni needing a babysitter, that's what they're saying. Big Dom was suspended, and he controls Sirianni's emotions on the sideline. So Big Dom is on the field watching and controlling Nick Sirianni. He's actually protecting everybody from Nick Sirianni. This is insane. Why did we bring this guy back? I'm sorry. It's just the craziest thing I've ever heard. This should be some Dallas disco shit. What the hell? So the coach loses the guy who controls his emotions, and he becomes a deranged lunatic on the field, on the sideline, fighting with coaches, fighting with players, and then everybody gets frustrated, mad at him, and they conk out. This is why the Eagles collapsed. It's because Nick Sirianni lost his mother-humping babysitter. That's insane. This is crazy. It can't be. But I'm sure there's actually some real logical truth to it. It is, Like I said from the get-go in the beginning, I personally would not have brought Nick Sirianni back. It's just that when you collapse the way you did and you clean house, I feel like you kind of need a fresh start. I feel like the players need a fresh start. And the season ended, and we've heard a lot of different things, about why they collapsed, what was going on in the locker room. We've heard a lot of things. Some things seem to be, some truth to it, and some things seem to be far-fetched, and some things, like yesterday's guy, I remember his name, Craig Carton or whatever, things like that. It's easy to go on there and say, oh, I know what happened, but I'm not allowed to tell anybody because of my sources. I can't tell anybody or whatever. That's easy. But Derrick Gunn usually is pretty on the nose or pretty close or has some sort of idea what's going on. And he's saying that Big Dom is there to control Nick Sirianni. It just makes me wonder what's going on with Nick Sirianni. I mean, he's got to be better than that. I really think this. If the Eagles start slow, if they don't start fast at all, he's going to go. He's not going to make it. I mean, literally, he's not going to make it this year. I think Kellen Moore is in place to possibly be the head coach if things go bad early on. But, I mean, this is one of the most craziest things I've heard. But it actually makes sense. It does. In a weird way, you have a bunch of athletes, a bunch of people that have a lot of pride in themselves. They're getting, they're getting yelled at. And put down on the sideline during games because the coach didn't have his babysitter to make it all right. He didn't have the guy that was going to hand him his pacifier, I guess. This is crazy to me. I joke around about it, but I don't know how else to take it. I've never, ever heard anything like that. And do I think, in all seriousness, do I think that's why the Eagles collapsed? I think it's a part. I think at the end of the day, I think it's a bunch of things. I think there's things going on like that in the locker room. I think the coaches weren't listening to the players or what they had to say. Obviously, Nick is having problems without Big Dom out there. And then, you lose the 49ers. Teams see what they did to you. They start doing it. And then you didn't have the coaching experience to go out there and fix it. And that was the problem. That's why the Eagles hired so many experienced coaches. But the questions have to be asked about Nick Sirianni. Like you really need a guy out there to control your emotions that much. Otherwise, you lose it. And then, the fact that Big Dom gets suspended at the time of the San Francisco game, and that's when everything goes to hell. You've got to wonder. Man, it never gets old. It never gets old. I love being an Eagle fan. All the hell we go through and everything, at least it's always entertaining, even in February. All right, when things are slowing down, it's entertaining. No doubt about it. And by the way, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe because we are getting close to 100,000 subscribers. We are less than 200 away, and I can't believe it. So, definitely hit that subscribe button if you guys don't mind, if you want. Now, there's a few things that I want to talk about before we go. I just can't believe it. I had to do a video about it because it was just so insane to me, okay? And we'll see if anything else comes out about it. But I do consider Derrick Gunn as somebody who I think, speaks truth and knows what he's talking about. Another guy I want to give a shout out to is Jake Rabati. I think Rabati. He's with Liberty Line. He posts on Twitter, but he had a great post that I wanted to talk about because we're talking about the defense and where the Eagles are going to go defensively. And he basically put up something I thought was really interested, and I'll link to the article for you guys to go read. Go give him definitely go give him a subscribe on or a follow on Twitter. But here's what he wrote. According to multiple sources at Liberty Line Philly has spoken with, it's safe to assume there will be a change in philosophy once again. The Philadelphia Eagles defense will look different in 2024, not just in the coaching and schematics department, but the personnel department. This is key. Fangio's defense relies on linebackers who are fast, athletic, and can cover. Oh, I love that. The Eagles currently have 0 linebackers who fit the bill on their roster. But a source predicts that Howie Roseman and company will pour significant amount of resources into the position compared to last season. That and much more. Howie Roseman geared up for another major offseason, and you can go read the full article. I absolutely love this. If the Eagles could upgrade their linebackers, and I say upgrade, I would like to see at the very least one significant signing and then a significant draft pick, an early draft pick. I'm talking one of your first 3 picks. It won't be a first round pick, but maybe between picks, one of your 2 seconds. Get a linebacker. Could this mean that the Eagles go out and get a guy like Van Ginkel, who I think the Eagles are going to get? Could they get him and a Patrick Queen or something like that? What will they do? But if the Eagles actually go out and get a linebacker and put resources into the linebacking position, I think it would automatically help this defense tenfold, because the linebacking position kills us. It kills us. And, there's a lot of speculation right now, and it's February, what the Eagles are going to do. Adam Schefter was on 97.5, The Fanatic, and he was talking about the whole clown show and stuff that happened yesterday, but he was also talking about what he thought the Eagles were going to do. He said, Adam Schefter says it would be a surprise if the Eagles don't look to upgrade their secondary. I think the Eagles, listen, you go, Philly, you want linebackers, you want corners, you want this, but we need them all. We need all those positions. What am I supposed to say? We don't need them? We need them. You know what I mean? We're not going to say they're talk property, they're calculating the calculations, and we don't need that. We'll spend this significant. No, we need it all. Need it all. Who do they go after? Will they go after Snead? A lot of speculation that the Eagles will pursue him. He's going to get a ton of money. Will they trade for Patrick Surtain? I don't know. Well, listen, I'll say this. I did see something on Twitter that said, if you're going to draft a cornerback in the first round, why not take that and go out and get Patrick Surtain? I could buy that. Although you wouldn't really get him on a rookie contract, I could get down some level. It's going to be interesting what the Eagles are going to do. But I think that both of these tweets are on the mark. I do think the Eagles are going to put resources in to the linebacking position. Now, the key that we have to watch and be thinking about is, he says, but it says on here, but a source predicts that Howie Roseman and company will pour significant amount of resources into the position compared to last season. So, significant amount compared to last season. So, what's significant? 50% more? So, what's 50% of zero? Zero, right? They've spent nothing on linebackers last year, so even going out and just getting like a Van Ginkel technically would be a lot more than they did this year. I don't know. I think both these tweets are right. I do think the Eagles are going to look to upgrade their secondary. They got some contracts that they're going to have to figure out. And then I do think that the linebacking, I think it's important for Fangio. The key to the whole defense is that Fangio's got a lot more say than other defensive coordinators have had, at least since Jim Schwartz was here. So that will hopefully help us, and we'll see. In the meantime, I will like to apply for the babysitting job for Nick Kotite. Anytime I can help him, I'll have a pacifier ready. I'll be quick on the draw, and we'll keep his emotions in check. It's called double moonwalking his ass. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. Of course, don't be a dingbat. Remember, it's how I vision. We're all just living in it. You know, truthfully, at the end of the day, maybe it wasn't that Nick Sirianni needed a babysitter. Maybe the players and the coaches needed protection from Nick Sirianni. And if Dom wasn't on the field, Nick Sirianni would start verbally abusing them, start talking crap, start just upsetting everybody. And it was so bad, they had to have protection for the players and the coaches from Nick Sirianni. Matter of fact, maybe, just maybe, the whole entire reason the Eagles kept Nick Sirianni, maybe they kept Nick Sirianni because Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman didn't want to tell him he was fired because they knew there would be hell to pay. Maybe they were scared of Nick Sirianni. Maybe Nick Sirianni is just a beast, a bully. Could you imagine how he goes in there and goes, hey, Nick, I've been calculating the calculations of cornbread, and I think it's better if we just part ways and fire you. And he says, I ain't no Carson Wentz. You ain't going to talk to me like that. Bap, 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 bap. And just beats the crap out of them, double moonwalks their ass. They didn't want any part of it. Maybe it wasn't Nick Sirianni needed a babysitter. Maybe they all just need protection from Nick Sirianni. Just a thought.